Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, let's dive right into this. If you're an educator in the middle years program, you already know that creating a successful curriculum isn't just about throwing some good ideas onto paper and hoping for the best. It's literally exactly like constructing a building. I mean, you wouldn't pour concrete without a detailed architectural blueprint, right? Well, the MYP unit planner is your master blueprint. Today, we're going to master that MYP unit planning process. We'll break down exactly how you design, build, and crucially validate your curriculum so it creates a structurally sound, highly engaging learning experience for your students.
Here is our game plan for today. First, the MYP planning ecosystem. Number 2, inquiry, establishing purpose. 3, action, learning and teaching. 4, reflection, considering impact. And finally, evaluating your MYP planner.
To really wrap our heads around this blueprint, we need to ground ourselves in the pedagogical theory that makes the whole thing work. The official MYP guidance explicitly states, these aspects are developed by placing elements of backwards planning, that's Wiggins and McTighe 2005, in an MYP context. So what does that actually mean for us? It means a successful blueprint absolutely always starts with the end in mind. Before we even try to figure out what we're doing on a random Tuesday in November, we first have to rigorously define the ultimate destination of our students' learning.
Section 1, the MYP planning ecosystem.
Before we put pen to paper, or let's be real, cursor to screen, we have to look at the environment where this planning actually happens. A blueprint is totally useless if the construction site isn't prepped, and the exact same goes for curriculum design. The MYP requires schools to plan the curriculum in a whole school setting. It simply doesn't happen in a vacuum. We're talking about prerequisites here. You need supportive leadership, dedicated time to actually meet and share ideas, a rock-solid commitment to team planning across both subject and year-level groups, and ongoing professional development. So the crucial point is, a unit plan is part of a dynamic, whole-school framework. It is absolutely not some isolated document created by a lone teacher in a closed classroom. Vertical and horizontal planning across the school is what brings real coherence to the student experience.
Section 2, Inquiry, Establishing Purpose.
All right, now that our ecosystem is primed, we can start drafting. But before we zoom in too close, I want to give you a really clean mental model of the 3 main aspects of developing an MYP unit. We've got inquiry, which is establishing the purpose, action, which is defining the process, and reflection, considering the impact. Now, while I'm presenting these as steps 1, 2, and 3, the documentation notes something really vital. Teachers move fluidly and iteratively among these phases. The curriculum planning process is interrelated and dynamic. It's not strictly linear at all. You might actually start your planning with a brilliant assessment idea in the action phase and then kind of build the inquiry backwards around it, and that is totally fine.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is we are looking directly at the literal blank planner provided by the IB, specifically the inquiry section. I know, it can look a little intimidating at first glance, just a sea of blank boxes waiting to be filled, but by breaking it down, we demystify the whole document. This is basically where the framework of what is worth knowing is identified.
Those blank boxes, they require very specific components to establish the purpose of the unit. You're going to need to identify one key concept that drives the unit, along with its related concepts. You'll ground the learning in a global context. From all of that, you construct a powerful statement of inquiry, which you then break down into factual, conceptual, and debatable inquiry questions. Finally, you'll align the whole shebang with specific subject group objectives. Together, all these elements create that overarching architectural vision we talked about. They ensure the unit reaches way beyond just memorizing facts and actually pushes students toward deep, conceptual understanding.
Section 3, Action, Learning and Teaching.
Okay, the purpose is established. Now we move to the physical construction phase, action. This section of the planner identifies the taught curriculum. It focuses heavily on exactly how students are going to learn. It asks you to outline the required disciplinary content, sure, but more importantly, to really describe the learning experiences and teaching strategies you're going to use. This is where you document how you'll differentiate instruction to meet diverse student needs and what resources you'll deploy. It is basically the daily practical application of teaching through inquiry.
A massive part of this action phase is formative assessment, and this brilliantly illustrates how the MYP views student evaluation. Formative assessments aren't just, pop quizzes for the gradebook. The documentation defines them as tasks that are an integral part of the learning process itself. They support learning by actively guiding your instruction. I like to think of them as the daily structural integrity checks during the construction of your unit. They provide transparent, measurable evidence of learning so you can adjust your teaching on the fly, long before you ever reach that final summative assessment.
Section 4, Reflection, Considering Impact. The final phase of the planning cycle is where we step back and consider the impact of everything we've just built. And listen, we really need to dispel the myth that reflection is just some post-unit paperwork you frantically rush through at the end of the term. The MYP mandates reflection across a continuous timeline, prior to teaching the unit, during the teaching, and after teaching the unit. It's basically an ongoing site inspection conducted by the teachers themselves. If something isn't working during the unit, you document it and you pivot. That constant critical thinking is exactly what allows units to evolve and get better year after year.
Section 5. Evaluating your MYP planner.
So, you've collaborated, and you've drafted your inquiry, action, and reflection. But how do you know if your blueprint is actually any good? Well, the IB provides a specific resource for this called Evaluating MYP Unit Plans. Now, it's absolutely vital to view this not as some rigid, punitive grading system, but as a powerful validation instrument. It's designed for self-assessment, collaborative peer review, and for standardizing feedback, kind of like in the IB's Building Quality Curriculum service. It empowers you to confidently confirm that your plans contain all the required elements and are structurally sound enough to create meaningful, engaging learning experiences. It is your ultimate quality assurance tool.
Let's move to the evaluation scale and see how this builds. A basic foundational unit plan might be rated as emergent or developing, which basically means it might need clearer alignment between its concepts and its assessments. But as you refine your blueprint using the tool, you move toward capable and finally up to the sharing standard. A sharing plan, that's exemplary implementation. It demonstrates such confidence in documenting inquiry that it actually provides a model of good practice to inform and inspire other MYP teachers.
Which brings us to the end of our explainer today. We've seen that mastering the MYP planner requires an ecosystem of collaboration, a backwards-designed focus on inquiry, deliberate action strategies, and continuous reflection, all validated by rigorous evaluation standards. So I want to leave you with this provocative thought as you head back to your planning teams. How does your current curriculum blueprint measure up to that sharing standard? Are your unit plans simply surviving, or are they ready to inspire? Keep building, keep evaluating, and we'll catch you next time.